Right, hi everyone. So today, basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the board breaker tier list. So personally, just a bit of a general overview at the start. I actually don't think board breakers are well positioned in this format at all, for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's not many board breakers that out the Pearly Noir. To out that you sort of need a kaiju or like a Herald of the Abyss or something of that caliber. Um, but then obviously that makes they can play around Herald of the Abyss by summoning out the Pearly Lily, and the Herald of the Abyss is not going to trade well into other decks. You're probably going to get one for one pretty much all the time. So that to me is not a good board breaker. A good board breaker to me is one that um, it's a Dark Ruler where you activate Dark Ruler and you negate Savage, Baron, and a Heroic Seals or something. You get like you're getting +2 or plus 3 out of your Dark Ruler. So that's the idea of a good board breaker to me. And I'll explain why it's not good into Pearly, and I'm going to explain why it's not good into Kashtira. Sorry, not Kashtira, it's pretty good into Kashtira. Super Heavy Samurai. And it's not good in Super Heavy Samurai because if you don't kill them, like instantly kill, like out their board and kill them, they will have too much follow up for you to deal with and they will kill you back. Now, the reason about this is that it becomes very hard to out their board and kill them in the same turn. Because if there is all the full combo, because their starting combo, like we all know, it's a one card starter with the discard. So you're going to discard the weakest card, which is not going to be a hand trap. They might have an extender and 2 more hand traps in that hand. That's a pretty typical hand. You can't be mad if your opponent has 2 hand traps, 3 engine cards going first. Now, obviously, what we know is that they thin the deck out huge, a lot. They take loads of random stuff out, they get the combo pieces out, and then they tunnel her back, and draw 2 more cards. So that then gives them the opportunity to draw at least one of the hand trap. So if you leave the super heavy board completely uninterrupted, they're going to have full board and the region of 2 to 3 hand traps, and you can't be mad if they have 2 to 3 hand traps because it just works out if they play like, I don't know, 25 engine cards, 15 hand traps. So you're not going to be, like, you could break the board, but you're not going to kill them through 3 hand traps, and that's the point where, if alternatively, if you were on hand traps, well then suddenly it gets a lot better because they're never making that board in the first place, and it becomes whose deck can play the most resilient through hand traps. But obviously you've got to then be on the hand traps, which is why I don't think this is very good. Anyway, so I actually don't think there's going to be any S tier breakers this format at all, because I can't think of one that outright wins you the game. But let's definitely start with the some of the tribute ones. So Sphere Mode, Lava Golem, Kurikara, Kaiju, Santa Claus here as well. I'm gonna have to admit I don't really know what that one is. Pretty sure that's Herald of the Abyss, but yeah, I'm not really sure what this is. So what we'll do is we'll talk about these sort of tribute ones. Yeah, that's all there is there. So Sphere Mode, obviously if you deck and support it, it's absolutely crazy against. I put this in the hand trap one as well, but we'll just run over it again a little bit more for people who haven't seen that video. If you deck and support a deck without normal summoning, like Labyrinth or whatever, this Sphere Mode is going to be good. It is going to be very good. You're getting your 3 for 1, like I mentioned with the Dark Ruler. It's extremely solid. If you do this against Super Heavy Samurai, very, very likely you're going to be taking out a Baron, an Appaloosa for 3 or 4, and then a regular. So it's just huge. It's a massive swing in your advantage. And if you've got a good set of 5 cards, maybe you can fend off their like comeback, crack back, and the possibility of being access coded as well. So if you can do that, then this is where like Sphere Mode is really, really good. The only problem is, outside of Kashtira, there's not a lot of decks that can really do some damage and put up a decent board through Sphere Mode. But Kishu is definitely an option to do that. Lava Golem, sort of the same thing. Obviously, Sphere Mode isn't good against Pearly as well. And if Super Heavy Samurai see Sphere Mode turn 1 or whatever, they might just hold their Regulus and just do Baron Appaloosa with a couple of hand traps. You're not killing them through that either. Lava Golem, again, a little bit more applicable. This can you can actually get this off against Pearly, so that's pretty good. I don't think you're going to often be able to get Sphere Mode off against Pearly, because if they've got the Noir into level 1, they're just going to make an Ensemble Robin or a... Yeah, I think it's a Princess Sprite to give them another card. But yeah, then we got a Kurikara. Kurikara, pretty cracked. Out the Noir. Another thing as well is if you force an Apo negate with your combo, whatever, you go special like Kashtira effect. It's a very good chance that they're going to Apo negate that, because if you Baron move it off the board, then you lose to another Kashtira that they could just drop. So yeah, I think an Appaloosa negate on that is probably quite common. You can then Kurikara over the Appaloosa, and then that Kurikara is going to be on 3k, so you can just crash it into the Baron or kill over the Regulus. And then if you kill over the Regulus, and then you can out the Baron somehow in your turn with Kashtira, which, to be honest, isn't too hard, you can then just bring back their Baron, and that's a huge tempo swing on the game. So Kurikara into a super heavy board is actually pretty nuts if you've got the backbone to kill it. Kurikara used to be played in Runic, where you don't really have that backbone to kill them, so that's probably not good. Kaiju, again, it's trades 1-for-1 with anything on the super heavy board, so I don't really rate it into super heavy. But obviously with it out in the Noir, it's that same thing. If they've got My Friend Pearly up, or the street's not really a problem, because when you out the Noir, basically you've got My Friend Pearly, which is going to add 3 quick plays back from the grave. That's really bad. And then you've got the street, and the street special summons 1 from deck, and then you get an effect from the one that you summon, which is going to add another Pearly card. But that's not, the My Friend Pearly's 3 times worse than that. So that's fair enough. But yeah, trades 1-for-1 into super heavy, pretty good into Pearly, which is why it's in the A tier. Santa Claus, same thing, but just a little bit better, because you can OTK through it easier. Dark Ruler still got some good applications against super heavy. Against super heavy it's good, but you have to be able to put up a really decent board, probably in a Rise hard, so probably could be played in Kashtira. Harpy's Featherduster, again, C tier, sort of only really good. It's not good against super heavy. I mean, you can wipe out the scales, but then I've got any follow-up, just puts those scales back. Evenly, it's never resolving. If it resolves, they're keeping the Noir. There you go. Droplet, definitely putting this up here. It's got to be pretty good sometime, because especially if you're playing decks, I don't want to say sort of like Runic, but sort of like Runic, because you can just throw a lot of cards down from your hand and then, go away. Ultimate Slayer, again, I'm going to put that in C, because it only trades 1-for-1. Change Heart only trades 1-for-1. Talents as a breaker, it's got to go into B tier, because it's just better than Change of Heart, because you've just simply got more options. Thrusting, again, we'll put it there. Lightning Storm, we can go in the same categories, evenly matched. I quite like that. Herald of the Abyss has to sort of go up there. I think that's XYZ Encore. Let's assume that's XYZ Encore. I'll put that here. And the reason why this is here and these are up here is because XYZ Encore is almost exclusively good against Pearly, but these 3 can be used against Super Heavy Samurai as well. Book Moon, terrible. Book of Eclipse, terrible. Too many negates going on and cards that are unaffected by it. Pank. Yeah, I'm going to put it up here because it attacks over 1 and it breaks 1. And then... yeah, Econ goes well there, but it's Econ can go between there and there depending on what deck you're playing, but I think I'm going to put it here for this format, because I don't think there's that many good ones that play Econ. Yeah, so obviously, as you can see, there's no S tier ones, and I think this is a very hand trap intensive meta, and you'll have a lot better time if you play hand traps. And plus, hand traps are so good against random rogue matchups, because rogue tends to thrive the plant deck. I'm not saying that's rogue, but the the Sunseed plant deck, that if you've got hand traps, that deck suffers hard. But if you've got board breakers, I mean, the deck does have a bit of a problem in the Dark Ruler, but it survives. It's got follow up. It can play some hand traps, and you've got the trap card as well. So like that deck's not bad. It's not bad into Dark Ruler, and other board breakers. So but if you have hand traps, it's just gonna ruin those decks day every single time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Anyway, I hope you liked, enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the other stuff. I need the subs, please. Cheers, bye.